Trying, I think.
You got a full house tonight. I love. All the people. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the August 20th, 2025 Franklin Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order at 7 p.m. In attendance, myself, Chairman David Gerstenhaber, Vice Chair Donna D., and Supervisors Jim Johnson, Don Dowling, and Betsy Odgers. Also in attendance are our Township Solicitor Guy Donatelli, Township Operations Manager Jeff Eastburn, Township Controller and Office Manager Melissa Ortega, Township Secretary Stacy Hollis, and there are 10 people, 10 members of the public. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So now I'd like to open up the floor to public comments. This may include comments including relating to tonight's agenda. Commenters must state their name and whether they are a resident of the township or a non-resident taxpayer in the township. If you do not identify yourself, your comments will not be included in the official minutes. Do we have any public comments related to the agenda? No. Okay. Thank you. Not seeing any public comment. We'll move to Donna for approval of the minutes.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Dave. So I'm going to make a motion that the board approve the July 16th, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. Can I have a second for that? Sure. All right, thanks. Any discussion? All in favor, I'm sorry, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. And we have one more from the meeting that we had to discuss the roads, not the roads, but the 896 project. So I make a motion that the board approve the August 4th, 2025 Board of Supervisor workshop meeting minutes. Can I have a second for that? Okay, that's Dawn. Okay, any discussion? Oh, okay, great. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. A motion carries 5-0.
And moving to business reports, I just, and Melissa's here, so she can go ahead and give the treasurer's report.
The July 2025 Treasurer's Report includes the following disbursements. The general fund with disbursements and transfers of $119,831.29. The Park and Rec Fund with disbursements of $12,906.61. The Open Space Fund with disbursements of $5,079.90. The Capital Reserve Fund with disbursements of $0. The Emergency Services Funds with disbursements of $0. The Fire Hydrant Fund with disbursements of $580.80. And the Wastewater Treatment Plant Fund with disbursements of $0, leaving a balance in all funds totaling $3,609,818.80.
Okay, thank you. I make a motion that the board approve the July 2025 Treasurer's Report as presented by Melissa Ortega. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Donna, thank you. And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, next is the Planning Commission report. Is there anyone here from the Planning Commission?
There's no planning commission, Jim, it's
Okay.
just, you need
Just-
to make a motion about extension
Okay,
or something.
So do we, let's see, do we have the motion? The motion is not in our motion sheet.
Yeah, we will do that.
We also, we need to do the zoning office. Let's just finish this planning commission. We don't have a motion here for Chesterville Road subdivision plan. So let's get the motion and then we'll move on to Betsy's zoning officer report and then we'll get back on that. Yeah, that's okay. So Betsy, why don't you read the zoning officer report?
Yes, the zoning officer's report. This report was compiled by the Township Zoning Officer, Mark Gordon. the month of July 2025, there were 8 permits issued, $2,030.25 in permit fees, 0 in miscellaneous fees, 0 in recreations and open space fees, 0 in impact fees were collected, and 52 inspections were performed.
So regarding the planning commission report, the 449 Chesterville Road subdivision plan extension letter, we'll need
Want me to take a shot?
what's the motion that you would like us to read and consider?
What it would be, sir, is to accept the extension letter, for the subdivision planning at 449 Chesterville Road. Until November 1st, 2025. This is a subdivision plan that exists across the street from Paradox. They're trying to divide a lot into 2 lots. And it's taken a while to get the information from. So it's not going to come before the planning commission, it's just to keep track of the books.
Right.
Even to ask for this extension.
Yeah. So these subdivision plans for just for folks' edification is they have a time limit, and within those time limits you have to get a certain amount of work done, and oftentimes as these things happen you need an extension in order to keep the document alive and not have it trashed. And so this, as Jeff pointed out, is something that we do fairly often, particularly when you're dealing with developers and other people's timelines. It doesn't necessarily fit into the subdivision plan timeline. So we often grant these extension letters, and this one goes to November 1st, 2025.
You take a shot and read it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will make a motion to accept the extension letter request to extend the time clock to subdivide 449 Chesterville Road to November 1st, 2025.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Dave. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Guy to give us an update on Lexington Point and MS4.
Thank you, Donna. I don't have much of a report on Lexington Point. That seems to be progressing as intended. I know that there's
my phone.
Sorry about that. I don't have much to report on Lexington Point or MS4, quite frankly, but with respect to Lexington Point, things seem to be moving forward. Our last communication with Lexington Point was by email this week relating to information which we needed with respect to 2 recently signed agreements for lots there. There is also some issue that we have with respect to certain certifications or recognitions by property owners within the development prior to the township taking control of or authority over the wastewater treatment plant. So I don't have much of a solicitor's report on Lexington, Ms. D, but that's where I've seen the emails developing.
So, Guy, I'd like to find, so there is, just to give the folks an idea of the progress. So just as our solicitor said, things are working through with Lexington Point. And remember, our next big milestone is to take over administrative control. So Stan has done a great job of creating a list of things that are still outstanding. And so that has been created. That's been going to be shared with Lexington Point. And he stated in there clearly that once all those items are handled, then we will have a meeting with the board and Lexington Point to get a sense of what's next, because then Melissa's going to need some time to get the billing together. So So as you said, they are making progress, things are happening, but there's still 10 outstanding things. Once that happens, then we have a meeting and then we talk to them about, with Melissa being a big part of it, when it makes sense for Melissa to start billing the folks and taking over administrative control. So that's all in the works.
And the second item, I can be even briefer. I don't have anything to report from the legal side on MS4 or the township building area inspection. That's outside, a little bit outside of my parenthetical, so to speak.
All right, so that I can take some comments. So we did have an inspection from DEP and the group did very well, very well. No comments. It was very complimentary of the work this group has done in terms of being compliant with the MS4. And you know how hard we struggle with it, but she made the comment that we're probably in better shape than most other municipalities. So that's something to be proud of. There's also, I think there was a question about grants. And I think we've talked about this before, but to reiterate that we have 2 grants that are in progress that Pannoni is working on for us. And hopefully we'll hear about one sometime in November of this year. And that was for $850,000. And then there's another grant that we just applied for at the end of May. I'm not quite sure when we'll hear, but I would imagine maybe another year. But we have those 2 going. That one's for $300,000. So we are doing our best in terms of the taxpayer to try to get as many grants as we can to help us with our MS4. And then so that's the good news. The second thing, and Guy, I don't know if you know have any feedback on this, but we have the PRP program that was approved by DEP, so that's good. So there should be an invoice coming for us to pay, right? You already have that?
No,
Okay, but we're waiting for it.
yeah.
Okay. So that's one part of our MS4 permit. That'd be really good. And I know you're a big part of getting that moved along. So that hopefully will happen. And I know it will happen. It's just a matter of us paying. All the worst stuff is over. DEP approved it. It's the numbers we wanted. We'll make our what we need for that part of the watershed taken care of. And the third thing is that there's an annual report due for MS4. We just finished the last year's, but now we have another one due September 30th. The good news is we know what we're doing this time. It should be much more a quicker process. Megan has her act together and she's working on that. So hopefully we'll see something in September. So that's all. It's all good.
Hey, Donna, I'm sorry. I thought I read an email or something about PennDOT having some extra credits for, was that TMDL or was that MS?
No, it's
TMDL.
we don't really need them, but
We don't need them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
unfortunately,
yeah.
because they're cheap. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're-
relatively speaking, they're cheap.
Right. And we can't bank them, right?
I don't know.
That seems to be. Like a lot of these issues, that seems to be up in the air. I mean, I have had positive communications going way back about the ability to bank opportunities like that, but they've gone nowhere. But no one has ever said to me, can't happen. So maybe it can happen.
Keep the dialogue up.
Sir.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to our commissions and committee reports. Betsy?
We have David Payne here for the Avon Grove Library update.
Good evening. Good evening. For those who may not know me, I'm David Payne, Director of the Avon Grove Library. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to report to the board on our usage performance for the first 6 months of the year, from January to June, and comparing that with the past 2 years. And I have statistics that relate particularly to Franklin Township and some that really relate to the wider community. And I believe these have been shared with you already. So start with the number of library card holders in Franklin Township. We went from 904 2 years ago to 969 last year. And at the halfway point this year, jumped to 972. Number of items borrowed by Franklin Township residents. We went from 9,900 2 years ago, quite a useful jump last year to 15,300. And at the halfway point this year, 7,862. So we're on course to meet that figure from last year. Total number of library visits, 2 years ago, 78,958, dropped slightly to 77,600 last year, which I suspect was probably related to the Kennett Library opening. And as of June this year, 42,153. Total number of programs 2 years ago, 766, increased to 771 last year, and at the end of June, 382. I can tell you that last month alone, we did an incredible 89 programs, which drew 1,711 people, which is remarkable, even if I say so for myself, for our small staff. Total program attendance, 10,300 2 years ago, jumped to 11,996 last year, and we're about halfway there at this point, 6,592. Number of computer uses, that's a figure which has really dropped nationally. 7,500 2 years ago, dropped to 6,200 last year, and about 4,500 in June this year. Our summer reading numbers, we just finished our summer reading program a couple of weeks ago. When I first started as director 2 years ago, we struggled to get 300 people. This year we got 677, which included a 70% increase in adult participants. We did 2 fantastic programs at Crossland Park this summer, and I'm sure Dawn will talk about those, but I would like to highlight the Citizen Science program in the Healing Garden and the Rock Snake painting program, which drew a combined 50 people, very creditable. We've done 3 story times in the park this month. They've drawn 97 people. We've got 3 more to go this remaining summer. I'd like in particular to thank Jeff, Dawn, and Andrea for their help in our Crossland Park programs, as well as you all, because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Well, I want to just thank you because we're working so well together and we've got so many more projects in the pipeline we're working on. The STAR thing is kind of all approved. So what I want to do is bring it to the workshop meeting at the 1st of September and see if I can approve it. Because what David can do through the library is they can do the QR code and we can ask people to, have reservations, so we know how many people we would have, because that's what we needed to figure out. So then we'd know how many helpers we need and stuff like that for the program. And we might be able to limit it. We're just gonna have to talk about how we'll work with that. But again, it's free, and I can't tell you how exciting. And the story time, I think this year has doubled from last year.
They have, and it's really very noteworthy because typically when you hold story times in June, the attendance drops.
Mhm.
June and early July is the peak. So we had 41, I think, last week or
Yeah.
week before, which is
Great.
cool.
And I mean, the pavilion was full.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, so we've been tickled to death. And the citizen science, are we gonna do that every year or?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a wonderful program and it's teaching the kids to observe. It wasn't teaching about specific things. It was about observation and how to record your observations, which I thought was very unique for a program. And then, how about the backpacks? Do you have any idea how that's?
I don't know how. I can only tell anecdotally.
Yeah.
I can say because this is the first full summer we've
Yeah.
done them. There's certainly been a great increase. So I think
That people have?
people absolutely have, and
Okay.
we've heard those who have taken them have really enjoyed and make use of them. So I think that's really, really positive.
And
yeah.
Matt, did you hear about that? I mean, they have backpacks at the library full of the maps of the trails and all this stuff and the binoculars and the compasses and stuff, and you take it out of the library and go to the park and go on the trail. So, and it's fabulous. I mean, it's just and because of the STAR thing, the reason we want to do the STAR thing is they have a telescope that you can take out from the library. So that's what we're showing people, that that's available to them, and then this will show them how to use it. And it's a resource for our community. The other thing we talked about was, you did a story walk over at Penn Township. Can you explain what the story walk?
So the story walk is a fairly new phenomenon which has sort of grown all over the country, and I think it's a patented thing as well. It's where you have basically storyboards, panels, which are placed sort of sequentially usually in a park or outside a library, which depict illustrations from children's books. And then so as you go along, you follow the storyline or the pictures on these boards.
So it really
Yeah,
encourages hiking and encourages you.
it encourage.
Yeah.
They did, okay. Over at Penn? Okay, because I want to go see that, because I think that,
Put benches down, full of concrete, a couple of benches are handicap accessible.
oh, that's awesome.
And then columns, the bridges are close to
That's awesome.
the actual bolt thing is done by Boy Scout, great, Eagle Scout.
Okay, okay, that's awesome. All right. I think that's everything, but we also talked about doing some more projects for the garden. There's a thing called a bug hotel. And you can build a bug hotel and you can build a big ones or you can build little ones. So that's another project we're thinking about. So David and I are getting into all kinds of trouble.
Well, that's great. And so I always, when you're here, I always ask the same question: how can we help you? You guys are doing a great job. You seem to be, we integrate well. We have a lot of programs, but
So
what else can we do?
So I think, and this is a continuous, I won't say battle, but challenge, for all the increased visibility that we have and have worked hard to achieve through our marketing, there are still many, many people who have no idea where we are, what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, we do live under the shadow of Kennet to some extent. And so it's been very important to us to define ourselves. And this is why we've done so well, I think. So really, I think to answer your question, just to continue talking us up, if you will.
Absolutely.
Friends, family, colleagues at work, whatever, because we are a hidden gem. And I said there aren't, there are many, many people who have no idea. And we are a bargain, really. So much of what we do is free. And that's really
and the more we can take advantage of it, the more we share it with people, the more they know about it.
Yeah.
And the one other thing I wanted to remind you about was I keep talking about having the Plyn air painters come out to the parks. And this would happen in all the surrounding townships for the library, and it would be painting in the park. And then we could have a little art show at the library. So that would have all the parks included, and then we go to the library. So that's a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Very much indeed. Thank you.
All right, next up, Guy Swift is here from the Avondale Fire Department, give a quarterly update.
Red one or the green one?
Yeah,
Red side?
You got it. No, you got it.
Okay. I'm here to do a quarterly report for the fire department from January till June. We've had 15 calls ambulance calls, that is in Franklin Township. We've had a total of 981 calls in the first 6 months of the year. The report next time will be much better because we all know that Christiana Care Westgrove is now open. First ambulance call we had there, we had a turnaround of 1 hour versus hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. I don't know if I reported the last time I had one ambulance at the Riddle Hospital for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I think it's helping. We're still going to Christiana and wherever the patients want to go, we'll take them, of course. But fire-wise for 2025, we've had 4 calls in London or in Franklin Township. So the fire prevention committee is doing a good job out this way. Budget-wise, you can see the one sheet shows what we budgeted this year and then the actuals. We're keeping real close track of the budget. We're trying to upstaff some because our goal is to still have an engine crew plus 2 ambulances up in the daytime. And then at nighttime, we go down to 1 ambulance and an engine crew. So we just hired 4 part-time EMTs. We're trying to fill it with part-time. Seems to be working so far, but we have looked at our some of our savings that we've had. And there's been talk about it, and we did pull the trigger about a month ago, and we offered our full-time people benefits. And the reason why is because we're losing our good full-time people going somewhere that's paying benefits. I got one guy that went to Wilmington Fire Department, which we can't compete with that. One guy's in Baltimore Academy. There again, we can't compete with that whatsoever, but we're trying to, you know, between us and West Grove, Oxford, Longwood, we're all fishing out of the same pond for the same people. So we're trying to be more competitive that way. For the first quarter, income for EMS was $380,794. Expenses were $312,594. Fire wise, income was 121. I'm sorry, 169, and expenses were 145. So, like I say, we're watching the budget real tight. I have Brittany, and I know I'm gonna mess up her last name, Brittany, the public relations lady from Pico, reached out to me and she said she put our name in for the firefighters fund grant that they do every year, and we got $2,000 for that. And then I put my feelers out. We have gas meters. We have 5 gas meters on our apparatus. For when there's a CO leak or, you know, a gas leak or what have you. They're due to be replaced at the end of the year. So I started to look at that. And actually we reached out to Aqua and they gave us $8,000 to replace them. So I'm trying like you doing, trying my darndest to get funding elsewhere. Budget wise for Melissa, we're still working on it actively. I will have it to you by the end of this month, I promise. It really is not going to be that bad. There's a slight increase, but what we're asking for anyway, but it's not like, we're not asking for the sky, let's put it that way. You know, we're just trying to keep our staffing there and hopefully, you know, like I say, we did a benefit package, started a month ago. And only 7 out of the 13 full-timers took it because the other ones have full-time jobs elsewhere or they're on their wife's insurance. And then we did do a thing because we're having problems on the weekends getting, I mean, everybody's going to the beach, you know. So we did an incentive where they get another $1 an hour if they work the weekends from Friday at 6 p.m. till Monday morning at 6 a.m. And it seems to be working. So we're trying, like I say, just to keep. I got 4 guys sitting there tonight on the engine crew and 2 ambulance guys, or 2 ambulance crews sitting there till 10 o'clock, and then it'll go down to 1 ambulance and 1 engine crew. So, this weekend, New Garden Air Show. We'll have an ambulance up there. We'll have an engine up there, but we'll also have an ambulance and engine staffed at the firehouse. And a lot of the air show is going to be done as far as engine wise on the volunteers. So, but other than that, I don't know if I can answer any questions.
So I have a question for you. So I know you talked to us before about working with the other fire company to do the integration. Can you give us an update on where you're at in that process?
Did you guys get a letter? Did you get that letter, Stacy? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Where we are at is the committee that I'm on, what they call the steering committee, and then we have a lot of subcommittees off of that are doing work. And I'm also on the governments and alliance committee, they call it. My committee, I can report on what we have done so far. We have looked at the bylaws for the administrative side. We have sent them to Rob for his input, and he's going to kind of put them together and send them back for us to look at. I've been pushing to get this government's table together since February, you know, because I mean, like I keep telling everybody, you know, without the municipalities, we're, you know, not to be smart, we're dead in the water. I mean, you know, you got to have the support. And reached out to Ken Batten, and I was like, somebody needs to take the lead in this. So they agreed to do it. I said, well, send them a letter. And he wanted me to go around. I said, no, I said, send them a letter. And so Stacy got the letter. I don't know who's going to be attending, but Rob, our consultant, will be there to update whomever is there to bring you up to where we're at. Right now, the goal is to have a vote in October to see whether or not it's even going to go through. Feedback I've been getting, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Everybody seems to be in favor of it. So, but other than that, I mean, we're just, I hate to say, we're kind of waiting on the government's table to get, well, I'm calling it the government's table, the township table to get together. Because, you know, once you guys all get together, you could come up with different ideas, and it could either take some pressure off of us continuing moving on with some things, or we got to look at different avenue and move on and look at other things. And it's
So
important.
when you come to us, you're gonna come with us a proposal, right?
Yes,
Right, okay, all right.
Rob will do that. The consultant we hired will be the one to do that. Yes.
What's
So
the timetable for that proposal?
I cannot answer that, to be honest with you. Like I say, whoever's attending that meeting, possibly on the 28th, that'd be a good question to ask. But I could tell you, we're going to probably vote in October, and then we'll probably get on the fast track if everything goes through. So I would think the proposal would probably be, I'm thinking
When you say the 20th, it's September 20th?
28th is a meeting
28th.
at August 28th is a
August
meeting at
28th.
London Grove. So for the government's table.
But it'd be helpful to, okay, maybe I'm thinking backwards, but wouldn't it be helpful to have the municipalities see the proposal before you meet?
Sure you will, yeah. Like I say, what this meeting is, this meeting that they're having on the 28th is to just get representation from all 11 municipalities at a table so that our consultant can bring you up to speed of where we're at right now and answer any questions you may have that I may not be able to answer or Neil from West Grove can't answer. That's the whole purpose of this meeting, is just to, it's kind of like the Medic 94 board where you
Yeah.
get, you know, you just get together and do an update. You're hearing it right from the horse's mouth.
So we'll get together, have a conversation, ask our questions.
Yes.
This proposal will incorporate incorporate some of our suggestions, or is it more they will respond, like, you know, the name of the person who's writing this proposal? Rob
Brady.
Rob Brady.
Brady is
So
very good.
Rob-
If you have any questions, once you meet him on
Yeah.
the 28th, you have any questions, you email him, he'll get ready. He'll usually gets back to you in a couple of days. He'll answer whatever questions you can answer. He's very good at what he's doing. And he's got a whole team on board that can do.
Yeah. So sometime after this discussion we have with Rob on the 28th,
Yes.
we'll get the township gets a proposal that says, okay, we're going to merge the two firehouses. These synergies will create this amount of savings. We're going to be able to cover this amount of without, you know.
Mhm.
And then is there a feedback period where we can voice our concerns based on the proposal? Or is it, once that's done, and
No. What's going to, like I said, we're voting October to see between West Grove and Avondale, there's going to be a vote to move forward saying yea or nay by the membership.
right?
You know, right now, I mean, it's not, you know,
So
and then once that vote is done.
Yeah.
Then that's when Rob will be more he's been active, very active, but he'll be more active on, like I say, coming to the municipalities and giving proposals, giving updates, answering questions and help lay it out.
So
There's nothing that, you know, we're not going to come out and try to blindside you guys and ladies, and everybody's going to have a chance for feedback, answers, questions. We're going, you know, all that.
So here's my point is, if you're asking for us to review a proposal and, you know, grant you some sort of approval or buy-in, there's only one meeting between, so we as a group cannot get together and discuss this proposal. We have to do it at a meeting. And
No,
there's
I think I can reach out to Rob and get you a better answer, because I really don't know.
so I'm not
Yeah,
trying to
no,
grill you
yeah,
here,
no,
but my point is there's a procedure
No,
that
I
we have to
agree, yeah.
follow as a board, that we can't, the five of us can't get together and discuss something
No.
behind closed doors
No,
and make a decision.
Each
It has to be in a
municipality, you
meeting.
get together and have a round table meeting or a whatever, workshop, whatever you guys call it. You know, you all can get together and discuss whatever you want. But what we're trying to get
No.
together is one representative from each table to kind of just.
Yeah. I guess my point was just, if you're asking, if you need us, the five of us to buy in, right? On
You got to know what you're buying into.
there's not that many opportunities for us to get together,
Okay.
discuss it and vote on it. So just keep that in mind.
Well, I'll reach out to Rob tomorrow and just talk to him about to see how he's going to.
This is not just Franklin. It's every second class township has to follow those.
Exactly. And see, and that's why I was trying since February to get
Yeah.
somebody to get this together so that,
Oh, no, I get it. So
So-
that's why I just say, just be aware, and when you talk to,
Yeah.
to the people who are going to be administrating this proposal, just let them understand that there's if they're looking for our approval or our discussion.
Absolutely.
there
Everybody's
needs to be
here.
a-
Yeah. Our goal is to hope all the municipalities are on board with it and support it.
Yeah,
and,
it's- Yeah.
So I would ask Rob to put together a timeline, even though it's gonna probably vary, but just, because right now the logic of it isn't, I'm not seeing it necessarily. So it sounds like you have to, we're gonna meet in August. It's just gonna be an update because you guys haven't even voted yet, right? And then somewhere along the line, I guess you gotta vote for it, but then there has to be a proposal, and then somehow you gotta get our feedback. So it would be helpful. You said Rob's really good at this, just to
No, absolutely.
just get a timeline or at least a flow.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna happen
Okay.
first, and then this is gonna happen second. And you may actually get more people to the August 28th meeting if they know
Yeah,
why they're
I'll
going.
get Tom, I'll get Rob to try to send out their agenda for what the meeting's gonna be about, like you say, how
Get a timeline for the whole process.
timeline for the whole process, because I can tell you if it does get voted on and everybody's buying in, all the municipalities, it's not going to go into effect till we're thinking January 2027. So it's still a whole nother year out before it actually, officially happens.
You're not gonna get the municipalities buying until, I mean.
Until you see the proposal.
Right.
No,
And
no,
then we're gonna probably,
I-
like you said, we're gonna have comments. It's gonna back.
They're not going to buy a dump truck
Right,
without,
right, right.
without getting a proposal. I mean, I understand how it works, but I'll double check with Rob and see what I can do to get, get a flow, like you said, an agenda moving forward, what the goal is and all that. Yeah, I can do that. It's not a problem.
Great, appreciate that.
So, anything else?
Thank you. Appreciate what you do. All right, so now we're moving on to the Parks, Recreation and Open Space Report. What? Oh, Don, I apologize. I apologize. Man. I sorry.
And I have the best report ever.
All right, go for it.
So, for those of you who know, last night we had our rain garden program. And the rain garden program was a win-win-win-win because to make a short story out of a long story, I've been working on this project for about a year, and I've gone to 3 other rain garden programs put on by Shane Morgan of Wild and Scenic Rivers and White Clay. Now, Shane Morgan helped Jeff go through our township, and they designate areas that we have to look at to be retrofitted and fixed for our MS4 projects. So when Shane was here meeting with Jeff, I stole her because she actually was the one that helped put in the rain garden originally for our little rain garden. And that was an Eagle Scout project, and it was about 5 years ago. Well, meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's just been kind of sitting out there, and this young lady's been taking care of it for years, but it needed more plants, which led me to talking to the owner of North Creek Nursery. And he came over and met with Jeff and I, and he's donating all of the plants we need to fill in the rest of the garden. I was just over the moon with that. And when I was talking to him about those plants, I told him about the healing garden. And I said, the healing garden is in its 4th year and it's just exploded. And I'm not sure what to do with it. And he said, I'm going over there right now. So he went straight over to the healing garden and he looked at, and he wrote me a nice letter the next day, gave me all kinds of ideas for the garden, what to do with it in the spring, how to move around some of the plants. And he's all excited about helping with this stuff. So I'm like, I'm in 7th heaven right now with all that. And then that brings me, Auntie and I are going to have a project for herbs because Auntie is our wonderful herbalist. And he suggested in those tall planters, because those Veronicas and the coral bells are too big for those, that we put herbs and maybe some vegetables or something, and make a teaching garden out of that layer of the garden. So that's another project we have going on. So that leads me to September 20th will be our third Master Gardener program. And the ladies each took a season, spring, summer, fall. This one will be about dividing for the fall and how to divide your perennials and your plants. And then we're going to do that in conjunction with our fall plant swap. So that's going to be huge because it was huge last year when it was so successful. Then my wonderful little boy that's doing his Eagle Scout project, he said he wasn't quite prepared for tonight, but he wants to promise that he's coming next board meeting, and that's all about the bat boxes. Auntie's brother Chris is helping me. He's on the pro, and he's helping me work with him. And it turns out Chris knows all about bats. So that's a marriage made in heaven. So we're making a bat trail for out there. We're going to put 6 new bat boxes. They're going to take down all the old ones and put up new bat boxes, and he's going to make signs on them so people know what they are for and how they work. And then on Friday, everybody's been talking about grants, and you remember we stepped back in the spring. I was looking for DCNR grants, and that was a little issue about our little fight with the elk. So we backed away from getting DCNR grants, but we had talked to Chester County Parks and Recreation. Chester County Parks and Recreation, in the beginning of this year, their director was leaving. So she said, well, don't meet with us now, wait till we get the new director. Well, they had an interim director all summer, now they have a new director. Jeff and I are meeting with him on Friday afternoon after story time. And Donna, I think, is going to sit in on, because she's our money brain. She knows, well, I know, but my money brain. So we are having a meeting for grants and he's got the original list. If you remember, we made the list of the pavilions need roofs, the brick building needs a roof. There's all kinds of brick and mortar projects, but I want to find out about other, whether we can get funding for education, whether so we're exploring all those things, and they've done a lot of stuff with playground equipment and programs, and so we're going to find out what we can get into. So that's what I've been up to.
No, this was great. I was at the rain garden talk last night, and it was really well attended and very informative. Unfortunately, I live in the Elk watershed, so I can't take advantage of the White Clay Creek watershed.
We're trying to figure that out. Auntie and I have talked about it because she's in Elk also.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but Chester County still has some kind of grants.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out how to help the Elk portion of it, because I'm in Elk also. So we're looking into what we can do for that section, because there was a young lady, this whole room was full last night of people. We were thrilled.
Yeah, and I think we need to do I don't say a better job, but communicate the service to Franklin Township, maybe bring it up in more on the forefront on our website and on Facebook, because this is an opportunity to really do something special and good for the environment, and you get reimbursed for it, right? So there's some reimbursement portion to it. It may not be 100%, but there's some reimbursement portion for it if you're in the White Clay watershed. Right. And if we can come and couple that with what's available for folks like us who are in Elk, right, that's really, really great. And even if we just learn and when we can do some things ourselves, having that up there on the website is great. And
we get credit for doing the class for our MS4. Right. So it's a win-win for everybody. But we can't tell you enough. Lucy Dinsmore, she's just wonderful. And they come to your house, they look at your property, they will go over a map with you, show you where you can put in a rain garden or berms or different ways to, mitigate the water. And they walk you through it. And then they have organizations, you can either do it yourself or they can give you names of people that can help you do it. and then they can help you reimburse you up to $2,500. So it's just a marvelous program and it's helpful to everybody.
Yeah, it was, so I think maybe that's another nice project for us to work on, is seeing how we can get those together. And, another piece to this is not only does it help the community, right, become more environmentally friendly, deal with our runoff from our personal runoff from our houses, it helps the township, as Don pointed out, that part of our MS4 isn't just doing these stream bed restorations and reducing sediment, it's educating the township and making sure that we're all kind of involved in doing what we can to reduce water pollution. So yeah, good
It
stuff.
was great.
Really
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So now I don't want to steal any more of your spotlight. Now we'll talk about Parks and Recreation. We'll begin with the open space report. Do we have an open space report tonight? No?
Pro report.
Yeah, pro report. You don't. You don't.
Excited.
You can do it.
Glad you have confidence in me. So most of this stuff is a rerun, and I know I've already reported on this, but on the 7th of July, Matt Thompson, Chris Consordo, and myself went over. We cleared the Bannershire trails, cut all the overhangs back, weed whacked.
Mhm.
We went through there for 3 hours and lost 27 pounds each.
Mhm.
Paul Overton, of course, cut that big tree down that was blocking the red trail out there. So that's gone. Matt Thompson and the Hellbenders, I guess it was just a couple weekends ago, went in and one of the bridges or one of the trails. What did you guys do? Fill in so you can get up over that bridge?
Oh, correct. Yeah, the South Bridge and cross.
Pack it with,
We just filled both sides just to make it smooth.
there you go.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Chris Consorto also went in and cleared a fallen tree. I guess it was along the trail going into Paradox. And then Matt cleared a tree. We're clearing trees. That's what the pro does. Then Matt and the Hellbenders created that ramp as well. There's a couple of things here that Matt and you guys have discussed that I'm going to eliminate.
Mhm.
Andrea Roberts, I don't think this was reported on, along with Sarah and Shannon from the AG Library. They created this rock snake. They're still working on a name for it. I think Elwood's gonna win.
Elwood.
I think it's a good name. Still have plans.
Before we move on so this was the rock snake, if you don't know what it is a bunch of rocks that were painted by local kids, and so each rock makes up a segment of the snake. And where can the kids and people go and see the snake, or maybe add a rock to it if they'd like?
Apparently they did a good job.
Where is the snake?
Right around the tree, right?
The snake is right around the tree in front of, between the tot lot and the parking lot.
Beautiful.
Don't forget.
You okay. Is this on the down low or what?
Let him cook.
So we still have plans on the agenda for a post sign, 4x4 or 6x6 with different color arrows and directions. Oh,
Correct.
hey, I'm there. Yes, we discussed this back in 8:20. Now it is 7 something, right? Now it's still 8. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna get that worked out for you, Dawn. You talked about that, Dawn already talked about Bat Houses, Healing Gardens. Now we're gonna get on to the fall event. You talked about the rain garden, the meadow, you've already discussed all that. We're waiting for that.
So I don't know what's meant by the meadow, so maybe you could, because you're still exploring, right? Is what I understand.
We're still exploring the meadow and I'm talking to a lot of people, and Lucy knows about the meadow And the guy who owns North Creek knows about Meadows. So now I've got a lot more people that really understand about Meadows. So I feel like I have a good handle on getting some real educated thoughts about it.
So, and when you're ready, you'll come to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk to the pro,
Yeah,
come to
I'm
the
just
board. Okay.
collecting all the information.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, so on to our tentative event. September 20th, and I'm looking for approval from you guys. Dawn's plant swap, food trucks, music, and a car show. Basically, when you do a car show, you give away trophies and things like that. You ask for money and they register. They pay $20 or $25. I'm not going to do the trophies that I know of because we don't have any sponsors to give us trophies and things like that. Trying to keep this as low budget as possible, but still have fun. So I am going to ask for donations versus a fee to join into this car show. Money will go into the Franklin Township account. It'll sit there. We'll earmark it for the pro. Well, I'd like to pay the band this year. I won't get any money out of that, but the rest of the band, I'd like to pay them so I can take that out of the, the money that people give us. I'd like to get little magnets made up that say Franklin Township fall event or car show or something. They're just little trinkets, but guys with cars like little magnets, just like for their car or the thing you put food in. It's called refrigerator. In that, we'll have to print up flyers. Now, Kyle has worked with me about designing them when we have a tentative one. If Jeff can bring that up, just to give an idea. I need a haircut. You need to turn his camera around. Is this on? Okay, so what Jeff brings that up. I'm thinking for like road signs, instead of us having to buy them, we'll take this sign that Jeff's bringing up, blow it up, glue them to all the old signs that we have, and it just wraps around for this year. It's pretty cheap. There we go. Boy, that's huge. Saturday the 20th, the donations. Oh, the website. For people to register, usually they have an application that they fill out and then they send money in. Me and Jeff were talking, maybe we can put something on the township website with the info email. Slow down, Jeff, you're making me dizzy. And then visit the township website and then they can fill out the application. And then that way we'll get an idea how many cars are coming, right? Because right now I have a whole bunch of people that say, yeah, I'd like to do it, but I don't have info for them. Where'd you go?
Put it back so the audience can see it on YouTube. It's the way it works, Rob.
Okay, I'll get mine. Am I prepared? All right, so I'm going to make it a quick one, not like an all-day event, 11 to 3. Cars will show up around 10. We'll use the FSA to park them. Of course, what me and Jeff were talking about maybe, and some other, guys want to join us, we can figure out a parking area. We're thinking about that walking trail along the outside of the baseball field, the upper field. Okay. Park the cars there will be the show cars. The other cars we'll use in that lot behind the healing gardens and then down along the bottom lot, for people to come and just see. So now we know that, I doubt that we're going to get thousands and thousands of dollars donated, to the thing. And I know that if we do have anything left over at the end of all this, and we don't spend it in the parks and recs, then it just goes back in the general account and it just, gets used by the township. That
works out.
No?
No, I think if whatever you get donated for this event, so the township isn't collecting the donations. I think you'd be collecting stuff, right?
Well, what I was thinking what we'll do is just have them write it to Franklin Township, write a check.
Yeah, we'd have to work out that. I don't think that's how. Yes, I agree. I don't think it's gonna be,
That easy.
no. This would be something that you would have to do, if you're gonna collect donations for your car show, we'd have to talk about how to get this done, but it certainly wouldn't be the Franklin Township collecting donations for the car show.
Even though it's a township event.
Well, it's a township, it's on township property, but it might not necessarily, I don't know that we're necessarily collecting. We'd have to talk about what the township can and can't do.
Right.
But I don't think collecting donations for the car show is something that we would be able to do.
I think, not to get too far ahead, because I don't want to be a bucket of cold water, but when other townships have festivals and community days and block parties, organizations might donate for that particular event. So perhaps the compromise is a donation by whatever organization the car show is. Everything goes to the car show and then the car show makes its donation. But I would be very uncomfortable having donations solicited directly to the township by a third party, only because I've never seen that. So it naturally raises a flag in my mind.
And whatever we raised, whether it was we being Franklin Township or we being you organizing the event, extra money does not go into the township coffers. That would be a for-profit enterprise. We wouldn't do that. So my point is we'd have to think about that. Yeah. So let me take a step back. I think the idea of a car show is a great idea. I think there's some details we'd have to work out in order to get this done the way you want to get it done. I'm thinking about the list of all the items that you want: food trucks and cars and maybe some prize money. You're going to look for donations for it. All those takes a lot of time to organize. So like, for example, that's a similar, even though it doesn't maybe seem similar scope to what we do for our fall festival, it's very similar in scope. Those are the time-consuming aspects of putting on an event like this. So I think what I'm saying is, I think your timeline's a little short. I think you probably want to push that out to October. Maybe take this month and kind of organize your thoughts around, okay, here's the different pillars of my event, right? So here's the fundraising aspect. What can I and can't I do around fundraising, right? And so, we can work with Melissa to say, no, the town. So I'm kind of with Guy on this. I'm not very comfortable getting donations for this event on behalf of the township, right? I'd rather have it be a third party, like,
Like a big league.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can't collect, we certainly cannot collect money, and then we'd have to account for it all. Then we have to figure out what we would do with any money we didn't spend. We can't keep it.
Right.
So that's one concern. But and my point is, none of these are insurmountable problems. I just think 30 days is not long enough for you to pull all this stuff together and have the quality event that you'd like to get done. So
That was my next option, is to move it.
I think that's
To give us more
probably for the
time.
best, and then we can sit down and really think about how to get it done right without
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I should have started 8 months ago, but I didn't. And then
we all should have started earlier on a lot of things.
And then
That's okay.
unfortunate events happen and.
Yeah, it's
here we
fine.
are.
It is what it is, but it's it's not, I think here we are. I think you just need a little bit more time to do that, and the weather in October is great, and
Yeah,
it'll
weather's
give you
great.
an idea to figure it out. And
So, yeah, if you guys are comfortable with, us doing this and we work out the details and everything, I would rather move it to the second week of October or something like that.
So here's my suggestion, and then I'll, and obviously I don't know if I'm one of five, if everyone else has a different opinion, kind of pull all these ideas together because you have a lot of interesting things you want to accomplish with this event, kind of or lay them all out and then figure out what each one of those things needs, what you need to do for each one of those ideas, and then come back and say, here, this is the fundraising and this is how that's going to work. And here's the communication that, you know, you have stickers and, you know, signage, how it's going to, so then we can say, okay, we understand how long it's going to take. We understand what the scope of the event is. You got it all under control. Then it'd be easy for us to just say, go for it.
Right.
Because I don't think there's anyone here who wants to say no. Right. I mean, this is,
No, we just need
we've
to
been
get-
talking about this sort of informally for a long, long time.
Oh, I totally get it.
Yeah.
You know, so if we go to second week of October, that's not even gonna work because your next meeting is third week of October,
Well, the Penn.
third week of September.
The Penn Township.
We also don't have to decide on a date right now either. So
Okay.
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll figure, we don't have to decide on a date right now. We don't have to decide on, but I think it's a cool idea.
It's actually a relief for me.
We have movie night.
Is it the 4th or the 15th?
It's October 4th.
October 4th is movie
Yeah.
night.
So with that, we have 22 barbecue lined up. They're coming. Cross and Kettle Corn is coming.
Awesome.
West Grove Fire Company is going to bring one of their big trucks up for display for the kids to look at and also for safety at night with the lights. And we're going to be getting a light tower donated to us from Avondale Fire Company too. And the movie is going to be Minecraft. So with the grant we received, which is $2,500, that all goes into buying the movie license. We do have to get a movie license, buying the movie, giveaways for the kids, things like that. So it should be a fun time.
Saturday is the Penn Township, their fall festival. Just.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah, Bob, and that, what Jeff was just talking about brings up that there are expenses that the township will incur even at the car show, so we'll get
Yeah.
those in line too.
Yeah.
Gives us time to do everything, gives you more time to get more people involved too.
But Bob, I hope you're hearing, we think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're behind you. It's just the timing.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it's starting now for next spring.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, to give you an idea,
It takes that long.
It might,
I think when Jeff and I started talking about the movie night, it was like June or something, or it was May maybe. April, May. I mean, these things take time. Surprisingly, take the time.
Well, I'm gonna keep my plant thing at this on the same date, because I already have that.
Yeah, and that's cool.
I'll bring you plans.
Yeah. No, thanks, Bob. So the next item, we kind of skipped over the bridge project. We had two bridge project. Well, we had one bridge project that we've been talking about working on in Crossan Park. It was going to be an Eagle Scout project. That Eagle Scout has decided to go work on something else, which is fine. But we had another bridge project pop up after our last major rainstorm, which ties into our rain garden discussion last night, where water runoff causes a lot of infrastructure damage. And so that happened over the last rainstorm. We had a culvert pipe in the middle of Banishire Park get plugged, and the entire pipe just ripped out, and now there's a gully there. We've roped off the gully. I think, Matt, you roped off the gully with caution tape. And we went out there on Friday, Jim Johnson, Matt, and Jeff and I, to take a look at it. And so this is, so that, and Jeff's showing the area roughly where the washout is. So the plan now, just to get this thing passable again, is so this is an issue that we have to address, versus the Crossan Park is more of a nice to have. We have a plan to pull together a bridge crossing there. I don't know if, Matt, if you're prepared to talk about it or not, but
Yeah, so like Dave said, I think the one in Crossing Park it's passable now, so this one at Banffshire is a little more important. I was like, what's on the back of my shirt? Sorry. I was like, man, I got a name on the back of my shirt. Cool.
So put a sticker on you.
It says kick. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, so the one in Banffshire, there was some discussion, do we just put a culvert back in there? And I think we'd be right back in the same predicament. So we're gonna do a bridge, which would mimic basically the bridge that is gonna be built at Crossing. We'll just copy and paste. So that's kind of what I got. I think there was some discussion, we had talked about, there's 2 telephone poles currently sitting there in the parking lot. So we're going to utilize those. We are going to get some lumber. I think, is that what you just pulled out, Dave?
Yeah, this is the Oxford Feed and Lumber list here.
Yeah.
And it looks like the subtotal. So this, Jeff, this subtotal. Okay, you're going to talk through this?
Yes, once Matt's finished.
Yeah, well, fill in with that. I mean, because it's materials that.
So what we ended up doing was we took the plan that had been developed by the Boy Scout, who's no longer with us.
He's alive. He's fine. He's just not working. He's not going to be doing his project.
So we worked with the building inspector. He's approved the plan. He likes it.
Yeah,
He
and
made
then-
some minor suggestions. So what we can do is we can use this as a blueprint moving forward for different bridges. So the price for the lumber for the one out at Banffshire came in at $627.23. And what I would like to ask the board is to have a not exceed price of $800. That way we can move forward with this job and get it done. But I'd like to also ask the board to times that by 2. So if Matt and I and Chris and some members of the pro have time this winter, we can go out and do the one at Franklin Preserve too.
Mhm. So this would be 16. So you're asking for $1,600
For both bridges.
for both
please.
bridges. A couple of things, just a couple of thoughts. The first one is just to reiterate, the one we're doing in Banffshire isn't necessary.
Yes.
Right, it's impassable right now.
And it's kind of a safety thing too.
And it's a safety.
If somebody snuck through there, it can be a problem. Anyway.
So that's number one. This is why we're having this discussion here tonight. The other is these are fairly simple crossings. They're not very wide. They're not very deep. And so it doesn't require a very large bridge. It doesn't require a lot of the things you'd normally look for, like a pre-approved engineering plan. Even though we had an engineer approve our plans, we didn't have to do that. We did it anyway. So that's number one. I think the other thing is I think we're still completely open to having a Eagle Scout work on bridges. We have Eagle Scouts come to us several times a year looking for projects. And so it might actually make sense to have this on deck for them, no pun intended, so that they can, so the reason I bring that up is we also, when an Eagle Scout comes to us, we generally approve some form of money, which is usually around $500, $600. So that's kind of in line with what we're doing here.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think it's good. Both projects are going to be done eventually. We might as well get it. Is the idea that we would buy enough building material all at the same time for both projects? Or are we just going to?
I might hold off on I would get the stuff for Banffshire. Let's get that one done. And then
That's fine.
Revisit. I mean, it also depends on what.
Yeah, I guess I'm assuming that's why you're asking for not exceed 800, because
Correct.
in 6 months, all of these costs could be significantly higher.
10%, 20% more.
So when I say we're going to approve, if we approve this 627, I mean, we don't even actually, this is within our budget, so I'm not even sure if we need, yeah, we don't, I'm sure you need, you don't, I'm not even sure if you need board approval. Just a tacit head nod, but the 627 is what we're gonna spend now. And then the extra money is for unforeseen costs.
Correct.
And then the same thing for the other 800, so.
Correct, sir. And I just wanted to note, I don't know if the board knows, but in the past week or two, I was able to get a donation of 2 very good telephone poles
Great.
that exceed 20 feet. So that's anywhere from a $750 to an $800 donation we received for that.
Okay.
So, just a couple of quick things. The span of the Banffshire Bridge will be 22 feet, right? Does the quote include, what's the width? Because I can see 12-foot, 6.
So it's going to be 4 feet.
4
So
feet.
4 feet wide. He did those 15 footers.
Yeah.
Cut them into thirds, obviously. And then that's, so that's enough to get the decking across.
Right.
Those telephone poles, I think I'm measuring there, anywhere from 20 to 22 feet, right? So depending on where, and by doing that, we can also raise it up a little bit, because right now it's a pretty good, like, you kind of drop down and come back up. I mean, we're not talking much, but like a foot or two, it might stand up a little and then backfill in, so it wouldn't be such a big dip down into it.
And Matt, that's especially important, I think, when we talk about the one at Franklin Preserve. I know we said Crossan, but it's really in Franklin
Correct.
Preserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, I know where it is. That's low lying.
Yep.
So when we build that up, and by the way, I suggest that we approve both bridges tonight and both spends tonight. I don't know if we have storage in case.
I mean,
do we have an area for storage of the wood? Why wouldn't we just do it if it's in our budget? And then when we're ready, we have the materials.
You have it.
Then we don't have to talk about it again.
We can. We have that side area there where we have wood stored for different projects.
Right.
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that might be even actually more enticing to an Eagle. We have the material.
Yeah, good point, Matt.
Right. So
I would just think the Franklin Preserve Bridge should be longest, as long as we can make it.
correct. And then, like you said, that one can sit.
Mhm.
The higher up that thing sits, the better, because then also that one's a little lower. So
Right.
anything, debris and that sort of stuff could pass through.
Okay. So do we need to, I mean, you have a question, go ahead.
Question. I do not mean to cause trouble, not this time, but I have to ask it. So I know, Jeff, you were really good about working with the inspector with the Franklin Preserve Bridge for the Eagle Scout, and it's a very low lying, and he said no issues with a plan or anything, but now the Banffshire Preserve one it's different, right? Isn't it? It's more, is it a higher, I mean, do we have to get an engineer to look at it? Because if we don't, I'm fine, but I just want to, it's not the same bridge, and I don't want to have a man who said the other one was okay because he looked at it in a certain context, and now we're changing the context.
I would say they're similar in length, wouldn't you?
They're similar in length. So it was a land bridge before, right? So we're just replacing that land bridge. So I don't know how to answer that, but we're actually going further across because the channel is narrower at Banffshire than what it is at Franklin. So we actually have more footing on the ground either side, if that makes sense, what I'm saying, right? So I don't know. I can just give you the information that
I'm not an engineer, but Dave and I were out there, and this is probably the least expensive and the easiest to do for us in Banffshire. And it's actually way better than what was there.
Oh yeah.
Way better.
And I'm fine with that. And I won't, like I said, I won't push it anymore. I just want to make sure that we're not using someone's approval. It wasn't really approval, but it's someone that you talk to, his feedback and his confidence that we didn't need to do anything more. Like he was very confident with the design and the plan. I don't want to misuse his feedback because now we've changed the location. And, but if that's not a concern, then I don't have any objection.
Yeah, so to compare the two sites, it's difficult to not have the schematics of both locations. The shores, if you will, of each side of the Banffshire chasm. Yeah, it sounds like it's a gap is much more robust and closer together than what we would have in Franklin Preserve. So Franklin Preserve is there's a larger gap between,
But it's very shallow.
but it's shallow. This one, the gap is narrower. There's more and is narrower but deeper.
Right, that's my concern. So because it's deeper, is it more of a concern that you have to have an engine? I don't know. I don't really know.
I don't know if
An engineer plan or someone
So
needs to look at it.
The bridge failure mechanism would be the same for both. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the depth of it really needs, I would think it's more the length of it, right? Like, if we were going 50 feet that across, I think that's where, because then you can get some bowing and that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's.
And Don, I'll say this too. I think when the land bridge was there, it was the same depth on either side.
Correct. Yeah.
Then when we put the bridge there, it'll be
Yeah.
the same. It'll be the same.
So just.
Yeah. No, they're good questions. They're very
It
good
is
questions. So I appreciate you bringing them up.
So
So I don't think we need a motion. This is an infrastructure project that the township's undertaking. I'm looking at you, whether or not we need to actually make a motion to approve a project for. Mike, please.
Yeah, no, generally, my advice, based on the sunshine law, is not to approve a motion that doesn't appear on the agenda, because public should have notice of motions unless the matter is de minimis, which means it's not really a big deal, or whether it's an emergency or something along those lines. So you wouldn't be able to do anything that has a township commitment behind it, but you could certainly send an individual or individuals off in a direction that you'd like to see them go. I don't know if this is.
Well, yeah, because I guess this is something that it's an infrastructure situation. We approved the bridge project and.
So does it even require you to?
I don't know why this would require our approval, other than he doesn't want us to do any,
It's de minimis.
Yes.
Because you've already committed the funds, you've already committed the work. So it would be a de minimis exception to that. So you could, if you wish, act.
Yeah. So I think
We haven't committed.
no, we haven't committed the funds for the Banffshire. It's a different.
Sure, I thought I
The
heard it was in the budget.
$627.
All right, I misunderstood that.
Money for it. I mean, she has money in the budget, but it's not like it's a bridge at Franklin.
It's not
Preserve.
line item.
Well, I understand. Okay.
But it's an emergency, right?
the bridge.
It's a safety concern.
I'd say it's safer.
Yeah.
It's more dangerous without the bridge than it would be building. the
Well,
bridge.
the point is the procedural one. Do we have to do a motion or not?
Definition of an emergency situation is, quote, when I started to hear you speak, and I started to hear one of the board members say, well, maybe we should vote on both of them tonight. I looked at the agenda. It wasn't on there, so I researched this.
Yeah.
Emergency situation, township may take action on matters involving a real and present danger to life or property, even if the matter wasn't on the agenda. So is this a threat to individual safeties?
No, sure. So
Somebody's trying to watch it.
All right, then
That's right.
in my view, you may do it.
All right.
Okay, so only do the one.
Yeah, we can only do the one.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
whenever, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Whenever we're ready, right.
all right. Good. So motion. I make a motion to approve the budget for the Banffshire Bridge as quoted at as the immediate quote $627.23 with a total budget not to exceed $800. I have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries 5-0.
All right,
Thank you, sir. Go make a bridge. All right, so that,
Resume.
and then so next, so for September, Jeff, let's put the Franklin Township, the Franklin Preserve Bridge on the agenda so we can just vote on it. Thank you. All right, so where are we now? Penn State Police versus Fire Company softball game, Jeff.
Okay, for years I've had on my list to see if I could organize a softball game between the Avondale State Police and the fire companies. This year, they finally said, yes, they would like to do it. So after talking to all sides, they had picked a date, or suggested a date of September 20th with all of their schedules. So it's just going to be a game out there. I would like to advertise it. I think it could be an enhancement or something included with Dawn's plant swap, but I don't see any expenses towards it. We cut the grass, we maintain the field. So
Great.
I would like to do this.
Okay. So you're asking us to approve the softball game
Yes,
and to advertise it on
Yes.
where? Facebook and
Facebook,
Township?
yes, on
Okay.
township website.
Okay.
Email if those three.
We'll make it,
Taken, but they signed a contract saying we have an event, then.
Oh,
we're
okay.
gonna supersede, and, I've been, contact with them. Just.
Okay.
We need one.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, this is another one of those where we need a motion. I don't think so. I don't think this is like it's two people playing, you know, we don't make motions for the
I just
Little
didn't,
League people.
I just didn't want to have it and you guys not know about it and start
Appreciate
advertising
it.
it.
Yeah, okay. Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing that. All right, moving on.
Okay, so ready to move to talk about Big Elk Creek. Okay, Antia.
Hi, guys. All right, let's do this one more time. So during the workshop meeting, I talked to you guys about the first virtual meeting that was held, the first of two. And then after the workshop, the next night was the in-person meeting. So after talking to you guys and going over my notes, I had a bunch of questions that I walked in there with. The meeting was actually not very well attended. The majority of the people that showed up are our people. So myself and Eileen, Judy Jordan was there. My good friend Andy Dinneman was there. And then Todd Pride from Game Commission was there as well, and Jim Nolan. So basically everybody that was there, except for two people, had already seen the presentation. So we let them roll through the presentation. Everybody sat there quietly at the end waiting to see who had questions. I made sure that the people that hadn't seen the presentation yet asked their questions first, and then I sort of took over the meeting to get us all the answers that we were looking for. So the questions that we had about whether the full-time and seasonal staff was just at Big Elk Creek, no, it will be at Big Elk Creek and at White Clay Preserve. The issue with lighting, the only lights that they intend to do will be dark sky compliant, and they would only be safety or security lights on any buildings that they feel need them. And given that there's only supposed to be two buildings, that shouldn't be too much lighting. They have no intention to light the parking lots or anything of that nature. I did bring up MS4, and I was given clear instructions from them that both the engineering firm that they've hired and DCNR are forced to comply with MS4 and everything to the letter of the law. So you don't have any worries there. They will be complying with all MS4 requirements for anything that they do as far as trails, parking lots, buildings, and all of that. Let's see, what else? So then I got into trying to clear up some of the information that they had sort of talked about, but not really. So in their plans, they have quote unquote day use areas. I wanted clarification of exactly what a day use area is, because in some of the parks, day use areas are playgrounds or, you know, sporting fields, things of that nature. As far as Big Elk Creek is concerned, all day use areas, and I have it on record from DCNR, all day use areas of the park will be limited to low impact use only, such as picnic tables or small pavilions, etc. So nothing crazy there. Let's see. I did find out once funding is secured, because they don't have funding, that there's probably a 24-month planning and design phase. And I made them go on the record stating that when they start their planning and design phase, they're committed to coordinating with the townships and the county as soon as there is a design or plan to show. This will be an ongoing process in which the townships will be involved every step of the way. They will come to you, DCNR will come to you in the form of showing up at your Board of Supervisors meetings and giving reports, or however else you decide you want them to come to you with this information. Let's see. Then it's the responsibility of townships and county to share this information with the public. But they will be coming to you first with any plans as soon as there's something.
What's the funding? I'm
You're good.
online. So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. The funding cycle, so you say they don't have funding. What don't they have funding for, and when do they get approval for
So
the
the
money?
funding that they had for the park at the beginning of this, when they met in November in 2023 at Lincoln University and had that huge plan,
Yeah.
they had funding secured at that point. This has gone on long enough that they have since lost that funding or reallocated that funding to other parks, because there again was no line item stating that it had to be used here. So currently there is no funding for Big Elk Creek State Park's projects.
Okay.
Also, that name is provisional. We still haven't decided what the name of the park
So
is.
this will be just part of the state's funding cycle next year, where they'll push.
Right, so if
to-
they get funding in 2026, they'll have that 24-month period of planning and design before they even start putting, a shovel in the ground. So you're looking 2028 at the earliest, I would imagine, before they could start building anything. Unless they get funding or grants to start with trails or something small like that. But again, even if they do something like a trail or a parking lot, they need to come to the townships and the county first. They actually signed a document, which I dug out in their Declaration of Covenants and Conditions. Article 4 was notice of certain activities. They are required by law, and they signed it, to give Chester County a minimum of 60 days notice before they do anything. What did they say? Anything to materially alter the property, including construction of public access, vegetation management activities, all that kind of stuff. So
Trails on there?
yes, trails are listed. It's all there. So they have to come to you guys anyway, before they can do anything. And I have them stating it for the record. John Hollis himself, it's on the record and will be in the transcript, that he said that will be complied with.
And Tia, most of I know some trails are slated for Elk, but most of the infrastructure is Franklin, right?
All of the infrastructure, except for a few parking lots and the trails, are in Franklin. So the maintenance facility, the visitors/education center, and the largest parking lot will all be in Franklin. But they will be at either the Cross and Farm site, which already had structures, or down the hill from that behind the shrub line. So they won't be materially altering the middle of a field or something of that nature. And it's a much smaller scope. We went from hundreds of acres being disturbed to at most, I think, 7 acres total when you count the parking lot, the 2 buildings, and the surrounding area. So significantly smaller infrastructure. I did inform DCNR that the townships intend to continue having an oversight, or whatever we decide to call it, committee. I explained exactly what our purpose behind that was, and John Hollis himself asked that as soon as the townships have formally decided on the name of the committee and all of that, that we please extend DCNR an invitation because they would like to participate. So just another way for us to keep communicating. We brought up preserve status again, because we're not giving up on it. We keep, as long as we have their ear, we're gonna keep hounding preserve status. DCNR hears us. They have taken our strong desire for preserve status into consideration, but the name is still currently provisional and subject to change. I have a feeling they're gonna wait until after their cultural resources, what do they call it? A cultural resources plan that they're having done comes back. And I think then they'll decide on what they're gonna name the park. Because they hired a separate firm to do their cultural resources planning. They are very, very aware that they must rebuild trust and work with the townships before they try to discuss any ideas of trail connectivity with us. I made it very clear that even though we discuss it, that doesn't mean the townships have to approve it, and they agreed. The townships do not have to approve. They do have the right to deny them access. So it was a good meeting as far as getting face-to-face communication, getting to ask questions and clarify information, and getting John Hollis on the record stating all the ways that they intend to work with and build trust back with the townships. And they know they have a long road ahead of them, but they seem to me at this point committed to making it work and doing their best to build your trust back. Whether they continue to do that is what we'll just be keeping an eye on. Make sure that they're actually doing what they say they'll do.
Well, it sounds like you got, or we got what we've been kind of asking for in terms of a lot more clarity on what their plans are. When we held the town hall, I guess it was last year now, 2 years ago. It seems like a long time ago. They were very aggressive because I think Cindy wanted to spend her money, right? And she knew if she couldn't get all these projects in, the project would go to a place that would go somewhere else. And so she was, now that they don't have the funding and they've kind of upset the community that they're putting in it, they're showing up in, they have a lot more time to kind of think about what the right thing to do is versus what they want to do to keep inside their budget schedule. So
well, and they also took the plan that they had for us and applied it to the Susquehanna Riverlands State Park.
Oh.
So that entire campground complex plus some and a whole lot of other infrastructure is going over there instead. And so I have a feeling that they took a lot of the funding that was earmarked in their mind for that and took it over to Susquehanna Riverlands. So it's going to be, I mean, they're going to have sky, baskets that people can climb up into and look over the water and all sorts of craziness. And there's a farm right smack in the middle of the park that is going to have to deal with it. So.
Are there going to be minutes from this meeting that you guys can document?
So they have to provide transcripts, right? That was part of my push for the transparency. So as soon as, it normally takes them a while since they're transcribing, hours-long meetings. It takes them a while to get the transcripts out to us. They did say they would have the master plan in the next 2 weeks or so, in a format that they could send to all the task force members, because what they'll do is they'll email us the entire plan. We'll have 2 weeks then to go over that plan and write up our list of comments and things of that nature to provide DCNR and feedback on that plan. And once they receive our feedback, they'll take another couple weeks to go over the feedback and integrate it or not before they release the plans to the public. But the transcripts from the meetings should come out somewhere in between all of that. Because what they'll do is they'll send the transcripts to the task force members. Again, this was part of my transparency issues with them. We have to approve the minutes or the transcripts before they release them to the public. So we'll go over the transcripts. They give us normally 10 days to go over the transcripts, and then we'll say, okay, and then 2 weeks later, normally they come out with the transcripts for the public.
As long as we get, when you're all done, we have copies in our file.
No, there was a reason that I forced the issue as far as getting John Hollis to state things on the record, because I wanted them in that transcript. Then it would be in black and white on paper saying, look, you said X, Y, and Z. I don't care what their number system says. I know which number is John Hollis. And we can reference back and say, hey, you said in this meeting that you would do X, Y, and Z, and you are not doing that. And so it'll be our jobs to just hold their feet to the fire and make sure they continue to communicate. So we'll see, they're supposed to work with our township managers, both Elk and Franklin, to find out a communication schedule and things of that nature with how they want to find out about anything from spraying to subcontractors accessing the park to things of that. So all that kind of stuff needs to get worked out. And they need to show that they're actually going to communicate by doing these small steps first before we go any further. And they understand that. I don't either. Look, I'm taking it as we won the battle and we should feel really good about what we've done. We should be very proud of what we've accomplished. We've walked them back 1,000%. I mean, from where we were in November of 2023 to where we are today is vastly different. And I can't stress enough that I feel like we may not have won the war because we're going to have to be very vigilant and watch because they won't put anything in writing as far as no camping in the future. It's just, not right now, but they don't want to tie the hands of their successors. So we're going to have to constantly keep an eye. But for now, in this moment, we won. And
And do you think because we drug it out so long, they lost the funding because at least we were tenacious about holding on.
Right. Part of that and part of the funding, whether they reallocated it or just it timed out, I don't know because I haven't seen their budgets. But yes, the fact that we pushed this and forced the task force issues and the task force took so long to put together, that's why they have no funding right now. And I'm not going to say sorry.
That's what I was going to, yeah. Keeping up the fight is what did it for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you take a bow, you should take a bow and see that.
But that's why I said we'll keep that oversight committee going just to keep an eye on them. And Eileen said if you guys are willing to have her, she would love to stay on and work with me. So her and I will work on that. And Elk Township is totally in. They're ready to go. So I think we'll just keep our cast of characters together because we work really well together and everybody's up to speed. And we'll just keep an eye on everything and hold their feet to the fire and just keep an eye.
We
We'll see what
appreciate your
happens.
leadership on this. This has been a
Thank you.
huge win, so thank you.
I do have one more question. So you talked about day use and you said small pavilions. What's a small, are they building pavilions? Or is it
Like
just
if they were to
okay?
if they build a pavilion, it would be, and that was just something they used as an example.
Yeah.
Kind of like I don't know, like picnic tables with a little
The ones
roof over it, like the one you have at Crossan Park, yeah. Something like that, but they have not said they're doing that. They just said it is, when they mean day use, they mean low impact only, such as picnic tables or pavilions, et cetera. That was
the definition.
It's within the definition of low impact. It won't be anything crazy. And again, they still need to come to you and the county before they do it. There's already picnic tables over there next to the parking lot. No, so I have a feeling they'll just move the picnic tables maybe if they decide to build there, they'll move the picnic tables elsewhere, but it won't be that far off. The pictures that they showed had the buildings and then off to if you're looking at the building from the road, off to the left-hand side was where they had the day use area and it was just some small picnic tables dotted between the trees. It wasn't anything crazy. And since they did all that tree planting over there, if they put a pavilion in, they're gonna have to knock down some of their trees. So either way we look at it, we're in really good shape right now.
Great. Yeah. Excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Jim.
Okay, next up is Paul Agassi. Paul Agassi is here to give the Historical Commission and HARB report. Thank you, Paul.
All right, good evening. So we met on August 5th, and there were a couple items on the agenda. The first item was the Churchill Cemetery. And as you know from the report, but I'll just restate a little bit of this for the audience, Nan Latimer has basically overseen this shrub clearing. It's complete. That unfortunately means that for the moment, everything that's left behind is a major tripping hazard. So it's a multi-stage thing. It's cut down to the point at which it can actually regrow. The idea is it will regrow. The new growth will be sprayed to kill it. And then in the fall later, we'll come in and we will cut it down to the ground and then treat the stumps, which will be as flush to the ground as we could possibly get them. So that what we're need to plan on doing now is basically getting all that debris off site. We have an arrangement with Yardworks to have it chipped. We just have to set a date, and that just means they have to have time and we have to get people out there to make it happen. That's where that stands. There is the possibility that we might be doing a cleanup at Mount Olivet. Not clear when we do it. I don't want it to conflict with what we're doing at Church Hill. But and it will not be till the fall to do that anyway. We need cooler weather. So at some point we will be talking about that. Right now, all we're doing is just talking about doing it. Then the Mason-Dixon Arcorna Heritage Interpretation and Connectivity Project had a meeting here in which the plan, I'll say presented, that's not really true. The plan was presented in an outline form to the public. This is the second public meeting as essentially the whole project winds down and finalizes the plan. The plan was then made available on the Brandywine Conservancy website for comments from anybody who wanted to comment on it. In addition to everything that's already happened going forward. And then that ended, I think, the 8th of August, and all those comments are to be then reviewed, and the plan is to be, tweaked depending upon what the comments are. The comments coming from here were previously turned over to Brandywine Conservancy in advance of the August meeting, because that was earlier.
Were they incorporated? I didn't go back and check.
So I haven't actually gone back and checked. I was told in no uncertain terms that they were incorporated. I've already read that plan twice, and commented on it in detail twice. And I have for the better part of the past month been working on what, for lack of a better term, we're calling a descriptive glossary that is being attached as an appendix to the plan. And that's basically going to define a lot of the terms and have a lot of information on the Mason-Dixon line, the Arcorn, which I've done with fellow historical commission members in the other townships. So I haven't really honestly had a chance, and I've taken Beth at her word.
So can I ask a favor of you? I'm assuming it's going to come back to us sometime because we have to vote.
You have to actually basically accept.
Right. So before that happens, or as you're bringing it back to us, can you at least at that point tell us which were the changes incorporated and what else has changed that we may want to be aware of? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, so I'm assuming that there are going to be no.
Yes.
Yeah, but it may be very difficult to go through 150 pages and find something that's different because it's not going to be highlighted. I can go to the spots we talked about and I can identify that those spots have changed, but trying to find something that would be significantly different in a way that would be bothersome to the board. First off, I think it's unlikely that's going to happen.
So we should just need a copy of it for our review.
But do you really want to read? I don't want to have to read 140 pages. I mean, if you had a track change version,
There's never been a track change version, and that in some ways, because this is a process with way too many people being involved, first in the production of the plan, and then a lot of commenting.
So just, okay, here's me, 1 of 5 again.
Right. No,
You're gonna be asking me to approve something, and I'm not gonna approve something unless I have a good sense of what's changed. So if I have to do it myself, it's just easy for me not to approve it, or just say, take the time and do it. And so it can't be that, I shouldn't say that. I think what I'm asking is not unreasonable if I'm gonna be asked to approve something, to know what's changed since the last time I looked at it.
Yeah, and I can't tell you that. I absolutely cannot tell you that. What I can tell you is I can go back and I can re-examine the places where we've identified very specifically that we wanted very specific changes. And I can say that those changes have been made, but I do not have a good way of doing what you're suggesting, which is to identify a change that would be different. The only thing I can do, and I will do that, is I can do a word search on DCNR.
Yeah, it's bigger than that, like I said. Yeah.
Well, not really. Most of what we were talking about.
See, I don't know what I don't know. So there's been meetings you've had, so think about what you're telling us. And I think
Yeah.
it's typical, right? You have the document, you came and talked to us, other people talked to their various areas. Those comments have been incorporated into the document. It's gone to a public meeting. Public have also commented on it.
Right.
Now we have another document, right? So it would be helpful to know what has changed because you've actively gone after people and asked for comments. So I would expect there are changes. And so, like I said, so I can either try to figure it out myself or I can say, gee, I don't have the time either. I'm going to not approve it because I don't know what's in it, right? I don't know what, you don't either. You're saying you don't know what's in it either.
I think yeah, so I mean,
Donna and Paul, not only that, but weren't there options when it was presented to us? There was options there that wasn't solidified yet. So again, I thought there was some options of things to do.
what came out of our discussions here were very specific recommendations on precise changes. We did not offer options, okay? And I made it very clear that none of those changes were optional. I was specific and straightforward and extremely clear, okay? What you're talking about, Donna, really would need to take and do a word by word comparison with Word and then looking at the entire printout and
is it all in Word? Because if it is, if we use Copilot, I've used it at work.
Yeah.
It can compare two Word documents.
Yeah, I know. And you can compare two Word documents. The problem is going to be making sense of what you're seeing.
Okay.
And that's where the issue is going to come about. And in all honesty, that's going to take longer than any single pass I've done on it yet. And I'm not trying to be difficult, but I don't think that the kind of changes that are going to occur to this document are going to be worrisome because I think it's very clear that, first off, everything in this document is a recommendation. It is not something that the township is required to adopt and undertake.
So maybe yeah, because if your answer to me is don't worry, even if you approve it, don't worry about it because it's just a recommendation. That's not going to sell me. That's tell me, am I crazy? I don't. Maybe because I come from a regulatory background, I would never approve a document that I have no idea what the changes are. I just wouldn't do it. And I've reviewed 100. I mean, I've done NDAs, so hundreds and thousands of pages. So I just do. You did it for the comprehensive plan. You were part of that. We had track change documents for that. So if it's impossible, then or it's not realistic, then I will have to live with that. But then don't count on my vote. Okay. So, but that's okay. I'm only one of.
Yeah, I just think that. I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. My feeling is, and it's that based on what it is, that the tweaks are, if anything, the vast majority of tweaks are being driven by me, simply because I'm the one who literally has made the most comments, and they're grammatical. They're for clarity's purposes. They're not substantive in that sense. So I can look at what, I'm not sure that I could give you, in all honesty, a response where I could honestly say to you, I've looked at it and I can guarantee you that there's nothing in there. I think that what you're asking of me is something I simply cannot deliver.
Should then would be to just have a copy of the document and then read it ourselves.
Right, and I can, and the thing is, I can do that, and that would be easier than reading, than trying to do a track changes kind of thing. Because the degree of changes that have been layered in that document from the get-go is enormous. And like I say, I know because at two different stages, I was responsible for a lot of changes. And I found myself having to try and get things done a second time when they didn't come through. But at this point, I don't really know what substance and changes there would be to what you've seen already. I really don't. No, I mean, you're.
Yeah, I think we just move on that.
Right.
I mean, I think that, yeah. I think the solution, I'm going to say it again because my mic was off, is we just need a copy of the document and we'll review it ourselves.
Yeah, you'll have a copy of the document.
And I don't think it's an enormous document. To his point, the amount of changes that document's gone through over the last year or plus, a track document might be difficult to make some sense out of. But if we can at least identify the changes that we had asked for, which I think we can do, right? We know what we want to change. And it's on us, right? It's just on us to do it. I also don't expect Paul to go through that document again for us and highlight what we may object to. I would rather just do it myself.
Well, I mean, there are things, like I said, I can look for.
But I understand what you're saying. I totally understand that we should understand what's in the document. I'm happy to do it myself.
If you want somebody to approve a document, is to make it as simple for them as possible. That's the rule of thumb.
I agree.
And so.
But that's not what we're.
Right, if you're gonna make it difficult, then it's gonna be difficult to get your approvals because it's just the way it is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but that's also kind of where we're at, right? You know. All right, thank you, Paul.
So anyway, and then at our meeting, we also went over 896 and the discussion that occurred here with respect, because our concerns are about the historic district mainly. And then for upcoming talks and events, I'd like to note that the Historical Commission will co-sponsor a talk on the Pomeroy and Newark Railroad on September 16th. And we are also working on a talk on smaller local history museums that would occur on November 18th. Both of the talks are going to be held in New London, and both will start at 7 p.m. And I also noted that London, Britain will have its 300th anniversary celebration on September 27th at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm actually going to be helping out with one of the tours there down in the park. And then Lou Mandich, who's on our historical commission, is also helping put them in contact with people who might have antique cars to bring there. Right. Lou was initially interested in doing it himself, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. He broke his ankle, so he's a little laid up. And then finally, I need to note that separately from our meeting, DCNR, well, actually not DCNR, Lindsay Wallace, the senior planner and services director at the 106 group, came looking for me as HARB chair, which is not really what she should have been looking for. She should have been looking for a historical commission chair concerning cultural resources, because as Antia mentioned, they are doing a cultural resources management plan for the park. And it's not clear to me that this is anything different from sort of what they did earlier on, which would be, I want to say 2 years ago now. And really all the information is already out there. I did a historic resource inventory of the material of what was in the park and previously shared that with DCNR. And I offered to share a glossary that's associated with this plan, which is public and basically defines Mason-Dixon terms. Her response to that, interestingly, was they were interested in freedom seeker information that we might have, which unfortunately is not going to be something we have because there is not any well-defined information about Underground Railroad type events in this area. There are further to the east because the main Underground Railroad path that's known sort of went from Wilmington to Kennett. And there are some sites somewhat to our west in Elk, but within the area of the park, nothing's really known. People could have come up along the Elk Creek, but frankly, that's speculative. We don't have any good information on that. So, and from that point of view, I was a little disappointed because the Mason-Dixon line itself is there and independent of the whole sort of Underground Railroad story. There's a separate story about the surveying of the Mason-Dixon line, which is a very significant story, and that it is of note beyond just a survey. I just point out that both Mason and Dixon were inducted into the American Philosophical Society as a result of having done that survey. So it was recognized at the time as being quite significant. So fundamentally, I think that's it. Are there any other questions?
Good, thank you, Paul. As always, I appreciate the work you put in.
With the 106 group. Are you going to go to that meeting with the 106 group? Sorry.
No. No, and that has nothing to do with that. One thing I would like to point out is the important thing about this inventory and maintaining this inventory is that by compiling it, we know where these historic ruins are, and they know, we know. So I would go in part, not so much because there's really nothing to communicate, and there is good reason to try and understand what they're trying to do. I can't go. I have other plans. I have a conflict.
Could I go in your stead?
Or
someone from.
Well, actually, I think, Jeff, were you talking to Lindsay Wallace about possibly someone additionally attending?
I had asked if the board members
Right.
wanted to attend, could they?
Right,
Not that they would, but
Right.
they said yes.
right. So maybe,
I just want to make sure somebody's in the room.
yeah, no, and I think that's reasonable. The other thing, from my point of view, from the point of view of the Mason-Dixon project, I would like to network with some of the people who are there. The people that they've invited.
Yep.
They're having people from the Mason-Dixon Preservation Partnership, and there are other things. So I have a personal vested interest in being there. And I talked about attending by Zoom, and that's not possible. So I'm not going, at least not to the first one.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are we ready for the road program update? Jeff?
Sure, I'd be happy to give that. I do feel that we've had a great 2025 road program this year. Just to highlight some things, and I can show you a couple of pictures if you wish to see them. We did end up overlaying the northern part of Auburn Road, which will bring some additional structural strength to that. We did mill and overlay Red Fox Lane, which is between Den Road and Carriage Run Drive. Kimbalot Lane, which is between Route 896 New London Road and Peacedale Road. Other areas that we had patched, where we had done larger patches, I'll say, was Den Road at about 108, Den Road, a couple of areas on Parsons Road, as well as Walker Road. So we're at the point now where we've been going through and supporting the edges of our newly paved roads with stone in the appropriate areas, millings, and then topsoil and seeding, more so in our developments and in front of houses. So we have received some compliments this year, and I am happy with what we've been doing. If you want to see some pictures, I can show you, or we can move on and I can bring up the great financial sheet that Melissa has done, and she can go over that. So what would you like?
Let's start with Melissa.
Mike. So in total, our road program was $434,957.95. The difference that we accounted for was $4,634.38 in a deficit. So I think we pretty much was on schedule.
That's great. That's great.
I guess from our liquid fuel fund, we'll pay $233,239.25. And the capital fund will pay for $201,718.70.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out, and Jeff, you told the board this, there was a lot of, not a lot, but there was some base issues that you guys picked up on. That's why it's actually a couple $1,000 for the amount of additional work that you did was well worth it. But remember, John, you always told us, you got to get the base right. You got to get the base right. And so you guys are really good about that.
No, I'm more than happy to talk about that. What we do is we go out and survey the roads that we're going to do, and we come up with an idea of what the base repair will be. We truly don't know until the milling is done. And the way we further determine that is once the milling's done, we get a dump truck filled with millings. The engineer and I walk behind that dump truck. And if there's any undulation movement in that base, it gets marked and it's repaired. So on Kimberlot Lane, there were some areas along the edges we didn't expect. There was some additional work there, as well as Den Road.
I know we struggle with this during every road repair season, and that struggle is the difference between a state-owned road and a township-owned road.
Correct.
And so on our website, we try and make sure that people are educated about the differences between a state-owned road and a Franklin Township road. This year, thankfully, PennDOT did a nice job separating themselves from us. We use full width paving and for our roads, and PennDOT is using oil and chip, which is why you're hearing a lot more road noise and seeing chunks of rock hit your windshield. So that's not Franklin Township. We do not use that technology on our road services. That's PennDOT. But we are always happy to answer questions about that. But unfortunately, we're not even allowed to plow an unplowed state road during a snowstorm. It's PennDOT. So
just to show, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, just my yearly statement that there are two road systems in Franklin, a state road system and a local road system.
So just to show you a couple pictures, I promise it won't be hundreds of them. Here is Hillcrest Drive, which was milled and overlaid. One of the residents in the back was very happy with how the road was done and the connection with her driveway. She was concerned about that over the past year. So we were able to make her happy just with the normal work that we do. Here is the one lane on South Guernsey Road that we had done. It had had some cracking and settling. So what we did, we ended up milling down approximately 6 to 7 inches on this to get to solid ground, which we did. And this was paved. So here is the entrance of Walker Road, which is done just past Tilden. We also did the lower end as well. We did a section there. Kimberlot Lane looks vastly different if you ever drive past that. And those are those items. Now, to kind of separate things, we all know that we have had some severe rain events and wind events the past month or two. So just to give you an idea of the damage that we had received, a lot of our roads are covered with tree cover, and they have cricks or water passages. So when we get this torrential downpour, it takes stuff out of the trees and picks up sediment from the streams, and then it ends up clogging our culvert pipes. So you'll see a picture of before, and let me see if I can bring up. This is a slightly different angle, but you can see the stream that we had cleared up and forced it with stone. We did put grass seed in and mulch mat. It looks beautiful now. Here is, see if I can turn it successfully. This is just to give you an idea of another area. I have no close-up pictures, but this is Flint Hill Road as you travel from Chesterville down to the London Britain line. You can see all of this tree cover here. So when we get these torrential downpours, the stream overflows, picks up sediment and trees, and then, I apologize, it started backing up at this point as well as across the road. So we felt comfortable enough to do these repairs, and I think we did them successfully. Now, the big ticket here. I want to talk about the northern part of Churchill Road, which is near Hilltop at approximately 614 Churchill Road. So on the western side of this road, we do have a stream drainage swale. You will see the entrance of it here. It makes an abrupt turn and goes under the road. There's the entrance to our pipe. Unfortunately, with these storms, it clogged up with sediment and tree branches that had broken off from the trees. You can see this swale. This is after it's been cleaned, but you can see the swale and the water that would travel down here. Now, what happened is when this pipe got clogged, the water went over the road and it went down the east side of this embankment. So this erosion area is approximately 40 feet long, probably 7 feet wide, probably 6 to 8 feet deep. So I'm going to show you another picture, try and show you another picture of just how deep it is in areas. You can see the guide rail post here. So I'm going to ask for Guy's help on this in a minute. But we did have a meeting today with our engineering staff, Ron Reagan, and he had asked for some help from Pannoni to look at this area. So we had a meeting today. Some of the items that we are discussing is putting up a retaining wall where we might take back some of this asphalt here about 40 feet of it. This is what we're talking about. And then form this up and or bring in concrete slabs, which would be close to level with the existing road. So it would keep that embankment in place. So if we ever had a problem like that again, we have this retaining wall to help keep that embankment in place.
About 12 inches to the right of, or right of the guardrail. So this isn't flat ground, there's a gully that drops about 4
Yes.
feet into a stream bed. So maybe if you go back to one of the previous pictures that show more of the damage. So what's happening is the water's going, can you scroll up? There you go. So what's happening, that's fine. Yeah, that one is good. Center it if you can. So what's happening is the water's going over the road and now there's a sheer drop off that side of the road. So there is very little ground keeping the asphalt itself from just falling into the gully. The way we prevent that is we're going to put in a concrete wall that will stop that erosion. There's a couple of options you can entertain. The most expedient one is you put in the retaining wall that doesn't, when we talk about a wall, it doesn't go above the level of the grade. It's going to be level with the asphalt. So the water can still run off if there is another major rain event. But it won't cause any further erosion and it won't wash the road out. So that would be the most expedient way to solve that problem. Then there's a longer term solution, which is much more expensive, which is to tear the road up and put in either a larger culvert or some other drainage solution and then put the new road in. That doesn't solve the problem. You still have a culvert there. You're still going to have erosion. It's still going to get blocked. So now what we need to do is stop the road from falling off the ledge. And so that's why we want to put in that concrete retaining wall, right? Is that
Yes, sir.
accurate? Okay. And so you're asking tonight, the question in front of the board is?
Well, and this is where I'm going to need Guy's help. What we would like to do is develop a scope of work for this to be done. And then we would end up talking to several contractors as far as pricing. Since this is what we've deemed an emergency, I would like Guy to talk about the process.
Sure.
So normally what the administration and I would advise is that you do bid specs, you advertise, you go out to bid, you have a bid opening, you work through a contract with your responsible lowest bidder. That is not required when you have a situation like this, which is in my view, or at least not my view, but based upon the engineer's view, an imminent threat to the traveling public. So I issued an opinion this afternoon or late this morning with the recommendation that administration move forward with getting boots on the ground and getting that done rather than deal with the bidding requirements, which is it's very clear in the code that for things like this, you can bypass that. And we've documented it. And I saw these pictures this morning and we went through them in great detail with 3 engineers. With respect to the culvert, ultimately the size of the pipe, the condition of the pipe, it's the fact that it's being clogged is creating this flooding condition. That's not necessarily an emergency. So we have to get folks out there to take a look and to see, what kind of seam is between this work and the other work. So in my view, at this point, I can't issue an opinion that says bidding is not required. So they're going to be very vigilant in keeping an eye on and reporting back to exactly what they need to do. But this condition here, one of the tidbits that was shared when we spoke this morning, you can see that, ribbon, that aluminum ribbon, that ribbon's holding up the bollards there, the posts. There's no support.
That's right.
And so you might say, oh, well,
Yeah.
Carl hit that and bounce off. No.
No.
So
So
there's
that's,
nothing holding it up. So it's in bad shape. Those, you can see those sort of those cantilevered posts. They're just hanging in the air. They're hanging in the air. They're not
yeah,
providing
there's a better shot.
support at all. So it's, forget about forget about the legal opinion. The engineering opinion is this is a mess.
We, when we were Friday, when we were looking at the bridge situation, we also looked at this situation, and the pictures don't do the situation justice. So if we were standing on the edge of this, it looks to me, not an engineer, like those support posts are what's keeping the rest of the dirt from falling into the gully. And so it's a clear issue. It needs to be addressed immediately. And to your point, the culvert itself does not need to be replaced immediately. The culverts existed there for a very, very long time without this situation occurring. We know that it's something we need to pay attention to, and the immediate threat is the fact that we have another rain event or another significant, who knows, a slight earthquake. That's a very tenuous situation right there. That needs to get fixed. So I think I would agree. I think this is an emergency situation for sure. And I don't think if a car runs into that guardrail is not going to be doing much at all. So
Just to add one thing while we were there, the exit of the culvert pipe is kind of like behind the cameraman right here. It's actually not where all this damage is. It's a little bit upstream, if you will. So we really don't have to do anything with that right now. This is the imminent problem. So
I have a really stupid question because I'm not an engineer, but if you put a wall in there, what holds the wall up? Why doesn't the wall just?
So these walls are anchored.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're anchored through the side. Yeah, by the earth.
All right.
The earth holds it up.
All right.
Yeah.
And then
I trust our engineers.
and then we'll probably take back a couple feet of that asphalt too. So when we pave it again, it's gonna be like a sandwich. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna develop a scope of work, send it out. And we're going to present it to the board. I wouldn't do anything with, you guys have to look at it and approve it.
So is this something that we can talk about at our September meeting, or can we move faster than this to get this?
We have inquiries out to contractors right now, so it will be as quick as we can make that, get them back.
So we might be able to talk about this at our workshop meeting
Meetings, yeah.
We don't have one.
It's Labor Day, but it doesn't mean we can't do it.
All right, we might do a special
Special
meeting. Okay. Yeah, we might, then that's fine. I just don't want to have to wait.
if you're ready.
No,
Yeah, if you're ready. If you're not, then you're not.
believe me, we're marching forward with getting this information for the board. So it's important to me that we try and get this done before winter comes.
Yes, I will.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Anything else on the road program?
I'm good, sir.
All right. You're great.
David, Dawn was just asked, so we're not going to meet on Labor Day, right? So that's clear. We're not having a workshop meeting in September. Right.
That's correct.
Right. We're not.
Yeah. No workshop meeting on Labor Day. All right. So that brings us to our second public comment section. This public comment can include any comments on anything attendees might want to share. Commenters must state their name and whether they are a township resident or a taxpayer of the township. Can I open the floor to public comment?
You are.
My name's John Auerbach. I'm a 46-year resident of Franklin Township. And I'm going to make some comments about the budget, but I I want to put it in the context of my experience. I was on the board for 10 years and the board chair for 8 years. And the last major item I did when I left was we prepared the 2022 budget with Melissa lacking a township manager. So we're intimately involved in the budgets. But the budget for 2026 could be critical. Facility maintenance is increasing. Road water damage is significant. I just looked down the budget. There's just lines and lines and lines of stormwater damage in there. So I think you need to pay attention looking forward because of this. You need to pay attention to funding your core functions. That being facility maintenance, if that's the roadways and building maintenance and stormwater and anything that requires maintenance, emergency service, traffic safety, land development and planning. So be cautious with any increases in discretionary spending, meaning anything that's non-core function. And you also have the MS4 project coming probably pretty soon. Just be cautious with spending. I was interested to hear the story about the rain garden. I remember we put that thing in 5 years ago. I gave it about a year and I figured it would be a weed patch. But thanks to Donna D and others, the thing has thrived. And the interesting part is that you got a donation for the plants because I bought those plants from him for $430. Yeah, he likes you better than me. Just see a few comments about the bridge. When you put in a bridge, like a pedestrian bridge, if it's over 27 inches drop, you need a guardrail. So I don't know how high they are. You may want to check that with our building inspector, but I think it was 27 inches. Just one other comment about storing construction material can be problematic. You're better off not buying the material. You want to buy it and use it because even if you look at Lowe's stock and they store it under the best conditions, there's all kinds of warped and bent things. So if you store it here, some of it may not be usable if you don't use it right away. PennDOT. Get some comments about PennDOT. Just be cautious with PennDOT if they ever offer you to take over any roads. We went through that maybe 6 years ago where they offered roads. And when we looked at the condition of the road that they were going to the condition that they would give it to you, they claimed that they would bring it up to a certain level. We looked at that level and additionally, they weren't going to give you any liquid fuel money for that road for 1 year after. They skip a year. Well, the condition they're going to give us the roads are terrible. So we rejected that. So that may come your way. Just be careful of that one. That's all I got.
Hi, I'm Nancy Widows. I'm a 33-year resident of the township. And I just had a couple of things. One, I'm concerned, and my community in Crossan Estates is concerned about runoff from the salt and the treatment of the roads during the winter. And we'd really like to see a reduction in the amount of salt used. Used to be that way. The salt has increased in the mix that's been used over the years. So we just kind of like to see a cut back in the amount of salt used.
Crossan Estates.
Can walk. Well, I think all of the roads that the township manages could use less salt, less runoff into the land. Just a note on the comparison of documents, ChatGPT or other types of AI can give you all the changes plus an analysis. So somebody might explore that as a way to look at that document. I wondered if on the pictures we were just looking at that Mr. Jeff put up, I'm familiar with that area of the road. And I wondered if with the concrete, I know in West Virginia and also in the city of Wilmington, we've used it to channel water as well as to, retain existing strength there. So I would encourage in the scope of work, they consider channeling the water and also undergirding where the cantilever is to lend support to those posts to make them much stronger, because in case of a vehicle accident, you really want them to hold. Let's see. Oh, and my last one was just a question on the kinds of things that are used to kill off. For instance, with the cemetery project, I don't know what's in those things. And again, the concern is just runoff into the watershed and the land. It's just a question.
So
I don't know how lethal it is. That's my question. What's the options?
So what we're dealing with are invasives. And so the application is going to be specifically to the leaves on the plants as narrowly as possible, because we also have natives in there we do not want to kill. As for treating the stumps, it's direct application to the cut wood using a specific applicator, which comes from basically, I forget, their name is like NIASMA or something, National Association of Invasive Species Management. And so what you do is you take the herbicide, which is what it is, and you add a dye to the herbicide so you can see where it's applied, and the applicator tip just hits the bare wood and nothing else.
Is there a mechanical option?
You could dig it out. The amount of, yeah, well, that is a problem because we're on a hillside. And I would like to really actually have the roots in place while other cover establishes itself, so that because even the roots, when they're dead, they're still going to be entwined into the soil. So it's not my first choice, but in the terms of this cemetery cleanup, I think it's unfortunately our only real option.
Thank
you. You want the mic back?
No.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.